lane debate and the LRT debate continues to have an absolute voracious appetite for social media. It is all over the place, some of it nasty, some of it humorous. And the question that I think we're to debate today, Evelyn, is whether or not social media actually pulls any clout at City Hall. Go ahead.
Well, it seemed to. I hear city councilors, while they're at meetings, they're getting tweets from constituents telling them which way to go or asking questions. I do know that many city councilors are very engaged on social media and do listen to their constituents, very much so. I think they're a group of Hamiltonians who are robustly engaged through using social media to drive their message home. And I think it does have some clout, but it's very concerning, however, that a certain group of people would have so much clout. As a research was done some time ago, I believe I was in The Spectator, and talked about who influenced politicians. And it seems they came to the conclusion that Hamilton city councilors are being influenced by a very elite group of social media users and who fit a certain demographic profile. And that was disconcerting, that we would not engage more with the whole community, but with one that are very adept at social media. So that is concerning for decision making, for our democracy and all. So I do have some concerns about that. And also the cyberbullying that takes place on social media. The attacks can be very vicious and not helpful in moving an agenda forward. It seeks to divide and really create division and tension among community members and place people in certain, they sort of position them as the bad guy, good guy dichotomy. So it can be disconcerting, and I've seen many times bullying taking place on social media at politicians. We don't always agree with them, mind you, but I don't think some of the vitriol is necessary.
Advocates of social media regularly suggest that the less progressive, or at least the perceived to be less progressive councillors, receive 3 or 4 phone calls and think that's a landslide of opinion. But meanwhile, you can post something on Facebook and it'll have 50 comments from 6 people. So I'm not sure that the Hammond hashtag is a fair representation of Hammond. There seems to be the usual suspects, many of them well-informed, many of them quite humorous, who are all over all the issues. And if in fact social media is an indication of how it is that General Hamilton feels, then we wouldn't have many of these incumbent councillors have been re-elected based on how social media says. I think we need to consider that social media still skews towards a certain age demographic, and I think it has strong implications in terms of our geographic differences, that social media is much more of a downtown thing. I don't think Robert Pasuta out in Ward 14 in Flamborough and the rural parts of our great city gets a whole lot of tweets and Facebook from his constituents. And I think that's lost on people who are so involved.
And that's the scary part, that city councils cannot just make a decision based on the fact that they have had so many hits on their, or so many retweets or comments on their social media platforms. Now, it is an important tool, and I use it very much. I'm very involved in social media, but I don't think it's a way to make decisions. It's very passive. It sometimes could be very intimidating for some people, so many people do not get on it, but doesn't mean that they shouldn't have a voice and have a say in our decision making. So we have to be very careful how, as city councillors, weighing all the constituents, whether who's dominating that platform, and then does the loudest noise gets the action. So that's really
the councillors who make use of our new technologies and our new ways of communicating to engage as opposed to fight.